Title: 1984 by George Orwell. Full book summary and analysis. Introduction. Welcome to this detailed narration of 1984, George Orwell's timeless classic about totalitarianism, oppression, and the devastating consequences of a society that sacrifices truth for control. First published in 1949, Orwell's vision of a dystopian future where every aspect of life is controlled by the state has continued to resonate with readers across generations. In this video, we will explore the world of 1984, diving into the story of Winston Smith, a man who dares to challenge the power of Big Brother. We will follow Winston's struggle to find truth and love in a society where nothing is real, emotions are suppressed, and the past is rewritten. But beyond the story, we'll also discuss the key themes of the book, its modern relevance, and the chillingly accurate predictions Orwell made about our own world. In a world constantly bombarded by propaganda and surveillance, 1984 stands as a stark warning. Orwell's cautionary tale about the dangers of totalitarianism forces us to ask, how far are we willing to go to preserve our freedoms? How easily can we be manipulated? And, ultimately, who controls the truth? Let's begin by stepping into the world of Oceania, where Winston Smith, the protagonist, will awaken to the terrifying reality of the party's all-encompassing power. Part 1: The Seeds of Rebellion. As we step into Winston Smith's life, we find a man trapped in a society ruled by constant surveillance and oppression. Winston lives in Oceania, where the party, led by Big Brother, watches every movement, thought, and action of its citizens. The party's grip is so tight that it has even redefined reality, through the manipulation of language, history, and facts. However, Winston is not entirely resigned to his fate. Despite the constant surveillance and oppressive control, there is a flicker of rebellion inside him. He begins to question the party's control over the truth and starts to harbor thoughts of defiance, even writing in a secret journal, an act punishable by death. Winston's growing disillusionment with the party starts to take shape when he meets Julia, a young woman who also despises the party. Together, they seek refuge in their secret love affair, a rebellion against the party's control over their private lives. As Winston's desire to rebel grows, so does his awareness of the terrifying consequences of his actions. The seeds of rebellion are sown, but Winston's journey toward truth and freedom will not be an easy one. This journey, however, brings him closer to understanding just how deeply the party has infiltrated every aspect of life. Part 2: The Love and Betrayal. The love affair between Winston and Julia serves as a crucial turning point in 1984. Their relationship is a small, personal rebellion against the dehumanizing control of the party. In their private moments together, they experience emotions and pleasures that are forbidden under the party's oppressive regime. Winston begins to feel a sense of hope. Through their relationship, he finds a connection with another human being that seems genuine, an experience that has been all but erased from the lives of the citizens of Oceania. However, as they become more deeply involved in their rebellion, they are both constantly aware of the risks involved. But Winston's hopes for a life outside the party's control are dashed when he realizes that even his private thoughts are not safe from scrutiny. The party's surveillance reaches even into the deepest recesses of the mind. Winston and Julia's relationship, their rebellion, and their trust in each other are ultimately betrayed by the very force they sought to escape. The betrayal, in the end, comes from within. They are arrested and tortured by the thought police. Their relationship, once a symbol of defiance, is used against them as the party breaks their spirits and turns them against each other. Winston's eventual betrayal of Julia highlights the depth of the party's power. It is not enough to control actions and thoughts, the party seeks to destroy all human connection, love, and trust. Part 3: The Crushing of Human Spirit. The story takes a dark turn when Winston and Julia are arrested by the thought police. What follows is an intense and brutal process of torture and re-education aimed at crushing any remaining traces of rebellion. Winston is subjected to psychological and physical torment, breaking him down until he is completely malleable to the will of the party. Winston's torture is not just physical, it is an assault on his very identity. The party seeks to eliminate Winston's independent thoughts and replace them with the party's version of reality. Winston's greatest fear, which is exploited by his torturer O'Brien, is his fear of rats. In the end, Winston is forced to betray his deepest values, sacrificing his love for Julia in the face of this fear. The loss of Winston's individuality and humanity is the ultimate victory for the party. He is broken, mind, body, and spirit. The human capacity for love, connection, and individual thought is systematically destroyed, and Winston is left a hollow shell, completely loyal to Big Brother. In this part of the novel, Orwell shows us the devastating power of totalitarianism, not just over the body, but over the mind and soul. The party's victory over Winston is not just physical submission, it is the eradication of the very concept of rebellion. In this world, there is no room for personal freedom or individual thought. The crushing of Winston's spirit serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of unchecked power. Part 4, Thematic Analysis and Modern Relevance. Orwell's 1984 is not merely a historical reflection, it is a timeless examination of power, control, and the mechanisms through which societies can lose their freedoms. At its core, the novel explores the theme of totalitarianism, how governments can control individuals not just through physical force, but through the manipulation of truth and language. One of the most important concepts Orwell presents is newspeak, the controlled language designed to diminish the range of thought. By limiting language, the party controls not just what people say, but what they can think. This idea of controlling language to control thought remains highly relevant today, as we see the manipulation of language and information in the media, social networks, and politics. Orwell also examines the role of surveillance. In Oceania, the party watches everyone, at all times. This constant surveillance creates a society of fear, where individuals are afraid to think freely. In today's world, the rise of digital surveillance and the collection of personal data by governments and corporations echoes Orwell's vision. The power of 1984 lies in its universal applicability. The themes of state control, propaganda, and the loss of personal freedoms resonate across time and geography. Orwell's warnings are not confined to the past, they are urgently relevant in the digital age. The constant surveillance, the manipulation of information, and the diminishing of personal freedoms in the modern world all echo Orwell's vision. Ultimately, 1984 serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of giving too much power to any one authority. It is a reminder to always question authority, protect our personal freedoms, and never take the truth for granted. Conclusion: Orwell's final warning. As the haunting journey through Orwell's 1984 draws to a close, we are left with more than just a fictional dystopia, we are left with a profound moral reckoning. Orwell didn't write this novel merely to entertain or disturb, he wrote it to caution, to awaken, to urge humanity never to forget the value of truth, memory, and freedom. Winston Smith's story is not just about defeat, it is a brutal allegory of what happens when systems of power transcend external governance and begin colonizing the mind. It is not enough for the party to control the present, it must own the past and dictate the future. And in doing so, it renders the individual irrelevant, stripped of identity, stripped of love, stripped of resistance. The novel ends with a chilling line, "He loved Big Brother." These words are not a symbol of resolution, but of surrender, the final, irreversible loss of self. Orwell shows us that the most terrifying aspect of totalitarianism isn't physical oppression, but the erasure of the human soul. And it is this that makes 1984 not just a story of a dystopia, but a warning manual for every generation. What makes 1984 especially enduring is its prescience. Written in 1949, in the aftermath of fascist regimes and during the rise of Stalinist communism, Orwell foresaw patterns that still play out today: the distortion of facts, the spread of surveillance, the corrosion of language, and the manipulation of truth to suit those in power. But despite its grim tone, the very act of reading 1984 is an act of defiance. It teaches us to ask hard questions: who controls our narratives? What happens when critical thought is replaced by blind loyalty? And how do we protect the sanctity of our minds, in a world increasingly shaped by algorithms, propaganda, and echo chambers. This book does not offer easy answers. Instead, it offers clarity. And in clarity, a call to vigilance. It compels us to value truth, guard our thoughts, cherish genuine connection, and most importantly, to never stop questioning. So as you finish this video, take with you Orwell's final warning, not as a relic of a bygone age, but as a mirror held up to our times. For in the shadow of Big Brother, the only hope lies in remembering that freedom begins, in the mind.